Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. Hey, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we're going to do our favorite movies based on true stories. Now, we realize this could be kind of loose, but we're going to do our best, and we're going to be as faithful as possible to the true story genre. So I have a top 5 list, so let's get into it right now. All right, number 5 for my list of my favorite true story movies is Bonnie and Clyde from 1967. So if you didn't know already, the movie Bonnie and Clyde is based on the real-life criminal couple Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker, who wreaked havoc in the U.S. in the early 1930s. Bonnie and Clyde went on multiple crime sprees, including robbing banks and other small businesses. Now, I first saw Bonnie and Clyde in a film class that I took in college, and I've said in the past, taking that film class was one of the best decisions I ever made in my college career. I saw so many classic films, and I was able to analyze each film, and that was an amazing experience. So, if you're in college right now, or college age, and you just don't feel that you want to go to college anymore, but you want to be a film expert, use my podcast as your guide. It's way cheaper because it's free, and I won't even make you write a paper. I think that's a tremendous deal. Anyway, the cast in the film is great, with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway as the lead characters, and also you get Gene Hackman and Gene Wilder in supporting roles. So if you enjoy gangster films and crime movies that were based on true stories, check it out. Number 4 is Ray from 2004. So Ray is based on, of course, Ray Charles, and Jamie Foxx absolutely does an amazing portrayal of Ray Charles. He essentially becomes Ray Charles. And part of this is because Jamie Foxx is a musician himself. So his role is somewhat believable, but he really owns this role. And if you're a fan of Ray Charles's music or just classic R&B and soul, this is a good movie to check out. You really learn the history of his life, of course, since it's a biopic, but really his childhood is, to me, the most fascinating because he wasn't born blind. He became blind as a toddler, I believe, and you really saw what his mother did, and it is the epitome of tough love, but he probably wouldn't have been as successful without that guidance from his mother. Number 3 is Catch Me If You Can from 2002. Now, I remember seeing Catch Me If You Can when it was originally released in the theaters in 2002, and I absolutely loved it. And of course, what makes this movie so great is that it's based on a true story, because truth is always crazier than fiction. Both Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks are perfect in their roles, along with the supporting cast of Christopher Walken, Amy Adams in her debut role, I think, and Martin Sheen. Originally, David Fincher was going to direct the film, but then dropped out to direct Panic Room. A year later, Steven Spielberg decided to produce and direct the film, and I think the film would have been much darker if Fincher had stayed on as the director. You can't go wrong with this film. Frank Abagnale eventually ended up working for the FBI. I think he still does, but don't quote me on that. But again, just a terrific movie based on a true story. Number 2 is Goodfellas from 1990. Goodfellas is one of the best gangster movies of any era and stars Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and is directed by Martin Scorsese. The story of Goodfellas is based on the 1986 book Wise Guy, which depicts the life of Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, and his mob dealings between 1955 and 1980. Now, what I found amazing is that Henry ratted out everyone and lived to tell about it. He made a deal with the feds and was put into witness protection. However, he called into the Howard Stern show years after this movie was made and never seemed worried about getting knocked off. He eventually died of heart disease in 2012. All right, number 1 is the movie Private Parts from 1997, which is based on the life of Howard Stern. So I got into Howard Stern when I was a freshman in high school. Actually, it was kind of a happy accident. Stern might call it a happy ending. One summer, I was scanning the dial for classic rock and instead got the Howard Stern show. I'm pretty sure he was on the phone with his then wife discussing his grooming habits. If you listen to the show, you can guess what region he was grooming. Then I found myself listening daily, and during the school year, I would often tape his show when I left for school in the morning so I could hear everything I missed. 120-minute tapes were amazing. Anyway, when Private Parts was released in 1997, I was one of the opening day theater goers, and I wasn't disappointed. I'd already read both of his books, and so I was hoping the movie would live up to the high bar he had already set. Now, the movie is hilarious, and if you're not a fan, you're going to be entertained. Even though Howard is playing himself, he really does a great acting job. I'm really surprised he didn't decide to get into another movie. I once read that he was considered to play Scarecrow in the Batman movie. He would have been pretty cool. Anyway, if you enjoy this, if you enjoy Howard Stern, or if you just enjoy like kind of gross out humor and an interesting tale of his life, definitely check out Private Parts.
You goddamn motherfuckers. You fucking waltz in here and you think you know everything, don't you? Well, I fucking worked my fucking ass off to get to New York City. And you sure as fuck are not gonna fucking blow it for me.
We're just doing characters.
Barry, Jerry, clarify the situation for him, please.
Page 108, paragraph 3, no jokes dealing with flatulence, excretion, urination, ejaculation, or other bodily functions.
Also, no paragraph 2, no use of the so-called 7 dirty words. These are cocksucker, motherfucker, fuck, shit, cunt, cock, and pussy.
Now, from now on, all your little bits are gonna be under 2 minutes in duration. And all scripts, and I do mean all scripts, require my personal approval. Welcome to NBC, Howard.
66 WNBC.
It's time for the match game.
And thank you, Mr. Announcer. Hi, everybody. My name is Gene Sternburn, and welcome to Match Game. We have a lot of excitement in the air today because we have some great panelists. Let me introduce you to everybody. First of all, I want to introduce all of you to a very, very charming and beautiful lady, the very beautiful Miss Brett Summers. How are you, baby?
Hi, Gene.
Hi, Gene. That's something I don't think you have, to be honest with you.
Back off.
Okay, and let's now go over to somebody who I really admire, the ex-president of the United States, Mr. Richard Nixon.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
I'm very, very honored right now to introduce to all of you a very special man. He's come all the way to our show for the first time, Mr. Jackie, the Joke Man Martley.
Thank you, Gene. That's very nice.
All right, let's
Thank
play
you.
our game now, okay, shall we? And what we're going to do is ask you to fill in the blank, okay? Now, I want you to listen carefully. Our first clue up is blank willow. Blank willow. Let's go over to Miss Brett Summers right now. Now, Brett, what did you have for us? Blank willow.
The only thing on my mind, Gene, was pussy.
Uh-oh, pussy. Pussy, all right. Hey, that's kind of wild. Pussy willow, that's what I would have said. All right, let's go over to Dick Nixon, former president of the United States. What did you have? Blank willow.
In any language, pussy.
All right. All right, let's go to our newest member of the panel, Mr. Jackie Jokeman Martling Blank Willow.
Well, Gene, I didn't write it too neat, so I have a sloppy pussy.
Sloppy pussy!
Sloppy pussy.
You got a sloppy and a fuzzy pussy and a very
Are we
big
talking
pussy.
about bread again?
All right, now let's keep going. Now it's going to get a little rougher. Okay, everybody ready? Blank a doodle-doo. Blank a doodle-doo. Blank a doodle-doo. You think about that while the celebrities are writing? Here we go. Let's go over to our Dick Nixon, our own ex-president. What do you got there, Dick?
Well, it takes a dick to know a cock, and that's what I wrote. Cock-a-doodle.
Now that's what I would have said. That seemed like the obvious answer. Okay, let's go to our own Jackie the Joke Man Martley. Jackie the Joke Man?
Gene, I have cock, and I wrote it big. I have a big cock.
I don't think you can say big cock on the radio. I think that's a no-no.
What? But I just said pussy.
Yeah, she just said pussy.
Yes, pussy is okay. It's the way he says it. Big cock coming out of your mouth sounds awfully dirty.
So I can't say big cock, but you can say big cock coming out of my mouth?
That's correct.
That sucks.
Did you just say big cock coming out of your mouth and sucks?
All right. Enough of this nonsense. We got to go over to Miss Brett Summers.
Just like the boys, Gene, I've got cock.
There it is, cock. Can you do me a favor? Do me a favor and hold that up so I can see your cock. I can't.
Gene, don't
Okay,
have
all
one of
right.
your own.
All right, there it is. Cock, cock, cock. I must tell you, though, we have to end this fun right now. I want to thank all of you. Give yourselves a big round. Okay, let's have a little music, Phil.
You did not have permission to do that bit. I never approved that script, God damn it, Howard!
Wait a second. Calm down, okay, Kenny? Calm down. There's a perfectly good explanation.
I'm all ears, Howard. Let's hear it.
I gave the script to Fred.
And I gave it to Robin over there.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Kenny. I forgot to put it in your box.
There you go. Perfectly good explanation. It'll never happen again, Kenny.
You're goddamn right she's never gonna do it again. You're fired.
What?
Gather your things together, Robin. Let's go.
Oh, wait a second, Kenny. What are you talking about? She had nothing to do with the bit. She had absolutely nothing to do with it. It was all me.
Pack up your shit. I'm not kidding. Let's go.
Kenny, you can't blame someone over one lousy bit. You can't go firing them.
Oh, yes, I can, Howard. Robin, get the fuck out!
All right, let's hear what everyone else has to say in this week's episode of True Story Movies. Okay, so for this week's episode with Sarah, we're going to get real because we're going to do
real.
For
real, though.
We're going to do favorite true story movies.
Yes.
And so some of these might be a little loose, like kind of loosely based on a true story.
Right. And, but that I'm always, like with books, I only read true stories or like case studies
True
or whatever.
crime,
I think, it kind of keeps me interested. Otherwise, I'm like, whatever. So I'm going to start out with, actually, there's two that I think because they're filmed and based in San Francisco, it's got a little history to it. That's another thing I really enjoy. It's like either documentary history, something that's going to make me feel smarter. So, and it helps in social situations because I'm a little awkward if you can't tell. So, Milk. Have you seen Milk?
Of course. It's based on
growing up.
Harvey Milk,
right.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I can always remember my parents making jokes about two things. One was always saying something to don't drink the Kool-Aid. If I was going, I'd be going, right.
Yeah.
If I'm going to kindergarten and we all have to sit, my dad's like, don't drink the Kool-Aid. We're 5 and we're in a Christmas pageant, Dad. Like, what the, And then the other one was like the whole Twinkie thing.
Yeah.
Right. And they would make reference to like, oh, they had too many Twinkies, you're losing your mind or whatever. Right. So the Twinkie, whatever it is. So.
Or the Moonies, like the.
Oh, yeah. Right. So the three main actors in Milk, I happen to favor. So I really like James Franco. Really like
Josh Brolin.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think he looks like he's smell good. And Sean Penn is cool. He's a little bit crabby.
Great actor,
he's a little crabby now. You can tell he's just kind of bitchy, but smells like cigarettes. But whatever. He's done his time.
Scarlett Johansson likes that. So,
I know. Are they still together?
I don't know.
Yeah. So that is actually really good. And it's such a important events in history with the whole what basically made he was openly gay and everybody knows that whole deal, but
well, maybe not. I mean, because we grew up in the Bay Area, so
right, that's true. So it just he did not give a shit, and it was pretty awesome even for the time, and he basically made the Castro what it is and made it so that gay people, mostly men at that time, because it was kind of would be coming from Arkansas or those little cowpoke towns where they otherwise want to kill themselves or whatever. It's it was like the frickin' Oz, right? And it's it was responsible for probably a lot of people having really different lives than they would have had, right? Because it's it's okay and blah blah blah.
Or running for public office,
right? Yeah. I mean, and I think that the idea, the theory was that the one guy who ended up killing him, obviously had some homophobic tendencies and some issues going on there.
But people forget they remember Harvey Milk, but George Moscone was also killed too.
Right, exactly. And so it's it's funny how they could get. This was before metal detectors and all this kind of stuff, But there's a lot of Moscone Center or all these different places in San Francisco based off of these guys, and and just even you drive through the Castro and you see all these different. And the thing about San Francisco is a lot of the things don't change as far as the buildings, and so it's cool. And on the same lines as Zodiac was another one of my favorites, based on actual events and historical stuff, and that was a very kind of creepy thing because they never technically caught him.
No.
And I could see how it really would mess with somebody, and through the years and just
all the theories.
Right. But again, when watching those kind of films, and I try to frequent San Francisco a lot, and it's oh my god, I know where that is, or I know what that is. I always kind of get more. I really like San Francisco as it is, but so, and those two are events are pretty Zodiac, people were changing the way they lived their lives and where they were going. And my mom ironically lived up there at the time, and her girlfriends would hitchhike, and she's like, what a dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So, it's but that was when it changed all of a sudden. You couldn't do that, and you couldn't, be a hippie, and you couldn't, so, So those are probably my two favorites. My other honorable mentions, they're all kind of clustered in, which is, the mafia movies. So Goodfellas, which is, based on Henry Hill, correct? And who was actually not Italian at all.
No.
And yet, made his way through all that. And
if you ever listen to the Howard Stern show, he would call in.
Oh, yeah.
He was supposedly in witness protection, but he was calling in all the time.
I actually saw there was a Locked Up Abroad episode that was based on him, but Casino as well, which was great, which was what my cats were originally going to be named after, not that anybody gives a shit. But yeah, Ace and Ginger were the two characters, right?
Yeah.
So she still has Ginger.
Ginger was Sharon Stone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great scene where her dying scene where she's coming down the hall.
Yeah.
Oh, but she was an asshole.
She was.
She played it. Yeah.
That might have been one of her best roles.
Right.
Yeah.
And I haven't liked her ever since.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's done anything ever since, has she?
No, because it was after Basic Instinct.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there a second Basic Instinct?
She did do the remake. There was a remake that should have never been made.
Oh my god!
Or that wasn't a remake. That was a sequel that should have
Is
never
that what
been
it
made.
was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Either way, they need to hang up that skirt. So,
Yeah.
right. So anything, and I think Bronx Tale was based on true events, and any of those kind of. I mean, the scary thing is you see some of those hits in those mafia movies, and you're like, that shit happened.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because there's still bodies in the desert. Never anybody found. So
that's right.
Yeah. I think those are probably
Those are great.
Yeah, those are mine.
Welcome to San Francisco.
All right, PD is back. It's Brian Provenzal and Brian Davis. So here we are.
What's up?
Welcome back. We're going to get real in this one. We're going to talk about our favorite movies that are based on true stories.
All right, let's get real.
Yes, let's get real. Okay, so what is your list for this week?
Well, I was thinking about it. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go because there's so many movies that are based on true stories.
Yeah,
I mean, like
totally.
anything that happens is like fair game for a movie because it's like, hey, it's something that happened. We can turn it into money.
Yeah.
Let's exploit it. But so, I mean, there's like, I was thinking about it later, but there's like a lot of war movies that are, if they're not based on a specific incident, they're based on the war in general, like World War II, or set during that time, or during the war, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of skipped over that stuff, and and
that's
that
good
even
Mahlon covered it.
Oh, well, there you go. Mahlon
good.
probably picked some good ones. He's got good taste.
Awesome.
I thought about and stuff like Braveheart was at one time one of my favorite movies, and it's kind of less so now, and partly because Mel Gibson's.
He's gone off the deep end.
Gone off the deep end, and it's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I genuinely enjoyed that movie when it was out. So anyway, I went in a different direction, and I thought more about like true stories that are like morality tales, which is something I like it as a theme in movies. So I have a list of 4, and they're not really in any order. But the first 2 are Goodfellas and The Untouchables. So they're both kind of mafia movies and deal with kind of, I mean, they're the American dream in a way. Like Goodfellas is Henry Hill trying to like live this high life as a big time mobster guy.
Right, that's my number one pick.
Oh, okay, I mean that movie is, I don't know. I don't want to talk. I talked about it before in the food episode.
Oh, sure.
Like, there's just so much good about that movie that I can go on. Like, it's like its own episode.
And Henry Hill was such a character.
Yeah, I mean, and the guy even after, like, if you read about him on Wikipedia or whatever, his life after. I mean, he was in witness protection, and then he got kicked out because he kept getting into trouble.
Yeah.
And he would blab to people like, I'm in witness protection.
That's
They're
right.
like, hey, what are you doing? We're trying to protect you.
Did you listen to Howard Stern at all? Like,
no, I've only heard of
He
him.
would call into Howard Stern all the time. That's how I discovered him. I mean, obviously I knew about Goodfellas and everything, but he just and there'd always be people calling in that were supposedly made men that would call up and say, we're gonna whack you, Henry. We're gonna get you, but nobody ever got him. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they probably left him alive for some reason.
I know, it's amazing because most people that rat out the mob don't live to talk about it.
Yeah, I think for him, he might have been a special case. I don't know. I can't imagine why they would leave him alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
When they do that to everyone else. But I think they probably just, I don't know.
But an amazing movie.
He was just too visible that they didn't want to do something like that, probably.
And Joe Pesci is so good in that.
Oh my God, he's such a psycho. Yeah. Yeah, talk about a temper.
Oh, yeah. Get your shine box.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Yeah.
The Untouchables is kind of
a great one.
The other way around, where it's the law enforcement side of it.
Yeah.
And Al Capone basically getting away with murder and all the crime, and they bring him down by tax evasion.
It's like OJ.
You can't get him one way, you'll get him another way.
That's right.
That one's just good for the acting, the music.
Yeah.
The casting is pretty good on that. Although I read that Mickey Rourke was the original choice to play Elliot Ness, which would have been interesting.
It'd been really interesting.
I don't know. I can't really imagine it without Kevin Costner. But.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy. We're in a couple episodes. I'm going to do actors that were originally supposed to play one role and that eventually went to the person that was supposed to play.
That would be one.
Definitely. I have a long list. So that's
going
to be a fun one.
Yeah. So anyway, those are the two Yeah, I don't know that. I was talking about the morality aspects of it. So I got onto this other thing. Well, scandals are like a big tale of morality, and so like my other two favorites are 8 Men Out and Quiz Show.
Great, yeah.
Quiz Show is kind of. It's a guy who kind of has it all already, and then he like gets his taste of like a different kind of fame. I mean, he's an academic, and then he goes on the quiz show, and then they give him answers and they help him defeat the reigning champion.
Right.
And it comes out that like he doesn't want to admit to it because he doesn't want people to know he doesn't actually know this stuff because he has this reputation as an academic.
Yeah.
And he kind of fell in love with the fame of being this quiz show champion.
Right.
And then contrast that to 8 Men Out, where these guys were. This is 1919, so baseball was a big deal, but it was also like not financially a big deal at the time. The guys, they literally had to work or off-season jobs in order to make ends meet because they weren't making a lot of money.
That's right.
And you had really cheapskate owners like the guy Comiskey, who is kind of one of the villains of the movie. All the owners were kind of in the same boat at that time. They just tried to screw over the players and not give them anything.
You could almost see their side. I mean,
it was like terrible that they if people who don't know the story, like they gamble, they meet with some gangsters who are trying to convince them to throw the World Series, and they're the clear favorites to win the series. They've had a great season. They're considered one of the best teams of all time, then they get convinced to throw the series to the Reds, who are and they're told, they do it because they hate Comiskey.
Yeah.
Mostly, and they want, I want to see a little bit of extra money for their hard work.
Yeah.
And then it kind of snowballs because they said, they're told they're going to get paid, and then they throw a game and they don't get paid.
Right.
And then they start getting threatened, so they become in over their heads. I mean, these guys aren't really like career criminals, so they figure out, they try and play. It looks the way the film is portrays is that they look like they're trying to. Okay, well, we'll change our minds and we'll start playing real ball now and we'll start winning. And then they get threats to their family and physical person, so they go back and.
Well, it's hard
there's
too.
A trial. And they're actually acquitted from the trial, and the film actually says that. Or indicates that the trial was fixed too. I mean,
it's true.
Probably was. Who knows?
But they were still banned from baseball.
Yeah, but then they got banned from baseball for life, and it's hard to even come up with a scandal that's. I mean, there's the performance-enhancing drugs scandal, all the doping that's gone on, but that's. Pete Rose was one. He was one guy, and this was a whole team, and it was the biggest event in the season.
Right. Well, the interesting part is there was articles written that the year before with the Chicago Cubs that they might have thrown the World Series too. It's never been substantiated, but there are signs that maybe the fix was in getting started then to go to 1919. It's same city, so the Cubs were really good back then too.
Back then.
But going back to Comiskey, the pitcher. Which I think was...
Eddie Seacott?
He won 29 games. He's supposed to get a bonus if he wins 30 games.
Exactly. And they rested him for a couple weeks before the season because they wanted him fresh for the World Series.
Right.
Meanwhile, he probably, more than... He would have... Back in those days, pitchers pitched a lot more often. He would have had like maybe 5 more starts, they thought.
Yeah.
And he would have easily won 1 or 2 more games, most likely, because he was such a good dominant pitcher at that time. And so he basically got screwed out of $10,000, and then
big deal. I mean,
which in that time was a huge amount of money, and he was banking on that to send his girls to college.
That's right.
And so he's like, all right, well, you're not going to give me this bonus. Well, I'm in on the fix now.
That's right.
So it's kind of fascinating how they go through the fix in the movie where the guys meet up, and then there's like the signals.
Yep.
Like hit the second bat or hit the guy with the second pitch if the fix is on.
Right.
I don't know. It was a good cast. A lot of people are just getting. I mean, Charlie Sheen is one of his early starring movies, or he had a lesser part in that, but I think he did Platoon around the same time, and Wall Street. So it was like he was just starting to make it big.
Right.
John Cusack had been in some other TV movies, but like he was already, but he was up and coming.
Sure. D.B. Sweeney played Joe Jackson. Yeah.
And David Strathairn is actually really good. He plays the pitcher, Eddie Seacott. He's really good. And John Mahoney, who's from Frasier, he's the manager. Really good cast overall.
But you could tell, like, once they got going, it's hard to be a competitor and to willingly throw a game. So you could tell some guys once they get the juices flowing.
Yeah, well, so that was part of the morality tale too. Is like some of the guys. I mean, I think it was Shoeless Joe Jackson, and he's portrayed as very like
he wasn't
kind of dumb. I mean,
yeah,
basically,
exactly.
he was literally illiterate,
yeah.
and he also was portrayed as uneducated and kind of slow.
Right, and kind of just goes with the flow.
It kind of goes with the flow. It didn't really like he had people explaining things to him all the time.
Exactly.
And part of that explaining things to him was like, "This is what you're going to do," because you don't know any better. You're
sign
too stupid
this.
to understand. That's like, okay, I'll sign.
Yeah.
And then there's John Cusack's character, Buck Weaver.
Yeah.
He was insistent. I mean, he was in on it at first, and then he decided not to do it.
Right.
Basically, according to the film.
Mm-hmm. They were kind of guilty by association.
Yeah, I mean,
like
that's what happened. Like, they overheard
it,
and they didn't report it, and that's why they got kicked out, too. And so, even though they both played well, and
Shoeless Joe, I mean, the numbers kind of say, he kept hitting. Even though, who knows if they held up, maybe
I read something, because I was doing a little more research on it today, and Shoeless Joe, he hit, like, 375 for the series, which is very good if you're not a baseball fan.
And it's a 9-game series back then, too.
So it's, like, an extremely good number.
Yeah.
But then it showed that some people did a little more digging, and like in the games that the Sox lost, he actually hit worse. So they're saying, well, maybe he was in on it, but I don't think you could really tell from that alone. He lived out his days wanting to get back into baseball and denying that he had any involvement in that. He's very insistent. And there's like the apocryphal story where there's a kid after they're acquitted of the wrongdoing, and there's a kid out there who says, "Say it ain't so, Joe," and it becomes this, this apocryphal story that it happened. But I don't think there's anything, not necessarily true.
Yeah. If there is one good thing about the crazy salaries today, this probably couldn't happen the same way.
You can't even imagine it happening because how could you bribe players enough, pay them enough money,
right?
Like an entire team, you could see 1 or 2 players, especially if they're younger and they haven't made their money yet.
But even then, they probably had a big signing bonus if they were.
Yeah, nowadays they get a big signing bonus, or their agent's going to be there. Like, look, just play ball for now, and then you're going to get your payday. I'll make sure you get your payday because the agent gets gets a lot of that too.
Absolutely. So, if anything, it's the steroid deal because that's to get paid. So if you're going to make it by getting this huge salary, or you're towards the end of your career, and you might as well get one more big payday.
Yeah,
you might as well
go
for it.
Yeah, but you can't really see a whole team doing that.
No,
nowadays.
no. Maybe boxers, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it happened in soccer recently. There's a big team in Italy called Juventus, and they were fined they were punished for match fixing, and they basically I mean, I think they still won the championships, but it was like toward the ends of the season where they would like throw games or give up a certain amount of goals or something like that. And they basically got the way it works in European soccer is that if you come in at the bottom of the league, you get relegated to the lower tier down. They don't have minor leagues there; they just have like a lower league.
Sure.
So then they got bumped down 2 levels for their for their guilt in match fixing. So they lost a lot of players over that because the players wanted to move on because they didn't want to play in the lower leagues. And I don't know, that was a big scandal. But I don't know, it hasn't happened in America. I mean, there's been there's like one NBA official, right, who got...
Yes, but he was always kind of sketchy. They weren't sure if he's embellishing or...
so, I mean, as far as that, I mean, it hasn't really happened in a big way since, Pete Rose was
probably the biggest.
The biggest.
And there was just an article today that basically they denied his... there's a separate committee that sometimes allows older players to get in, and I think they denied him again.
For the Hall of Fame.
For the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. And, whatever he did or didn't do, his numbers speak for themselves, and I don't think he bet on baseball.
As a player, he's...
he deserves it.
He deserves it. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same thing with the guys who did steroids, too. I mean, some of them deserve it based on what they did probably before they were reducing, and now it's kind of... I mean, there's no rule in the Hall of Fame, really, that they have to ban them. It's just kind of like a decision that they want a certain... moral character, except that you have people in there like Ty Cobb, who was like a major racist, and I think he did some other horrible things. Maybe he's like domestic violence or something like that. And
Babe Ruth,
he's in there. Yeah, I mean these aren't saints.
No, not at all.
And so it's you can't. It's kind of this weird, double standard or whatever you want to call it.
And I think down the road, I think your Barry Bondses are going to get in.
He might get in. I
possibly
think
Clemens, but
yeah, and I don't know. I guess A-Rod. Do you think A-Rod will get in?
He might. Yeah. I don't see guys like Sosa Palmero. And McGuire getting in, even though they probably would have.
McGuire would have for sure. I don't think, and Sosa maybe, the total number of home runs.
Yeah.
But,
but those guys that were pretty obvious, like I don't see it happening.
I don't know. It's pretty...
But and we can get into baseball and steroids, but they could have, there really was no rule that said, hey, you couldn't take these supplements.
Yeah, it's just kind of the ethical thing. Like, what are you doing when no one's looking? And they decided they would cheat because it gave them a better payday.
That's right.
And I mean, I think the reason baseball didn't really punish a lot of them formally is that they actually benefited from all that. I mean, there was the
strike, yeah.
After the strike, and there was the chase when Sosa and McGuire were chasing Maris's record, and it helped them. It helped them get back on a national stage. And, and
I think now,
like, now we'll just kind of say don't do that again.
Yeah, there's your Bud Selig. Yeah. Bad for baseball.
Bad.
But, where were you in '98?
But thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now there's talk that the ball's juice now because the runs are going crazy.
Yeah, except if you're the Giants. But anyway,
well, nothing can help the Giants. So we're gonna leave it on that note.
All right.
So, thank you again, Brian.
Sure.
We're back with Samantha. Welcome back.
Hello. Nice to be back.
Thank you. So in this week's episode, we're going to talk about our favorite movies based on true stories. So this could obviously be kind of loose, but we've had some interesting choices so far. So I'm curious to see what you have this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about biographical movies for this, and I kind of went with a little theme because this was really broad.
Yeah.
And I used to watch a lot of war movies for some reason.
Everyone's mentioned those.
So that was the first thing that came to mind. But none of them are really my favorite. It's just they're always World War II movies,
always.
And
they kind of leave out World War I and nothing about Korea, and so
I decided to skip over that.
Okay.
And then I think you mentioned you were talking to me about all the sports movies, and that's not really my thing either.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd talk about just some really good biographical movies.
Okay.
I love history and that kind of thing, and so one I already talked on this podcast before about Marie Antoinette.
Yes.
The Sofia Coppola movie, which is one of my favorite movies. It's not many people hate it, but and that kind of I like movies that are based off of historical figures. I love European royalty and all that nonsense. So that was a fun one. And then it reminded me of I went through a phase where I was watching every single movie about a royal person and all the monarchies, and I remembered the Elizabeth movie with Cate Blanchett.
That's right.
And there's actually 2 of them, and I like that whole time period. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how much other people really care.
Well, no, some of the feedback I've been getting about the podcast is I added, whoever mentioned something, I added to my Netflix. So there is an audience out there. So do not feel self-conscious about.
So Tudor England, mostly there's a lot of TV movies about this. I'm a BBC nerd, so there's a lot of made-for-TV movies and such, but they're the legitimate Elizabeth movie with Cate Blanchett is a really good one. I haven't seen it in a while, and I think it was pretty accurate, which was interesting, and I thought I love her as an actress.
She's great as everything,
and she just is fabulous, and she kind of looks like what I think Elizabeth would have looked like kind of in the pictures.
Okay, I may be off here. Did she play Katharine Hepburn in The Aviator?
Yes.
Okay, so she's good at it.
The Aviator's another good one. Historical movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's... I love Cate Blanchett.
Yeah.
She can do anything. And so, this movie, I had to kind of research it a bit, but there was the first one in the 90s, and then they made a sequel in 2007, and I didn't realize they were that far apart.
So what was the sequel? Is it just different parts of her life?
Different time periods. Because she ruled for a very long time.
Okay.
And I think the second one, it might have had to do more with war and stuff. Like, I did not research this. I haven't seen these movies.
So you still got your war movie in there. So
yeah. Or like they did like naval things. I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't really remember the second one. The first one is the one that I like better. It's kind of when I think it's when she like came into power, that type of thing. But
that's interesting because you don't hear about many true stories that are sequels. Maybe you have like what Clint Eastwood did with there was it was Iwo Jima, so it was told from both sides.
Iwo Jima, and then the one in Japanese.
Right.
Which one? Oh, that was a really good movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what that one was called.
Oh.
Samantha's doing some research right now.
That was I liked those. Okay, no. Flags of Our Fathers.
Right, was the American version.
So Flags of Our Fathers was the American viewpoint, and then Letters from Iwo Jima was the Japanese.
Yeah.
That was horrifying.
Yeah,
movie.
I know.
I just was like sat there.
Yeah.
Like shocked the whole time. It was really well done.
But it was a kind of an ingenious way of doing it. So you're getting both because you always get one side.
You
usually.
always get the English speaking side,
always,
or you have the people speaking English. So. Yeah. I'm gonna just.
That's okay. So we're gonna move on to your other picks.
My one side is royalty movies.
Sure.
Good ones. Marie Antoinette, Elizabeth, great. Well, Elizabeth was a great female ruler. Marie Antoinette was not.
Not so much. Yeah.
So yeah, that one, and then another movie. Just as I was like thinking about this was Walk the Line.
Yeah.
The
Johnny
Cash movie with Joaquin Phoenix. And
so not Walking Hard, or was it the parody?
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox
That's
story.
right. Yes. So there's a kind of almost a Will Ferrell vibe to it.
Yeah, because they kind of made fun of that movie. It was a John C. Reilly version.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. But the real version with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. Yeah.
Phenomenal. And I've never been like a Johnny Cash fan or anything, but I've always respected
him.
And the that movie, I just thought it was really well done. It was quite heartbreaking at times.
Oh, yeah.
And I was really impressed. Like, Joaquin Phoenix, all the musical bits were just really great.
Yeah.
And the movie was good. And I think I've seen it a few times. I've, like, gone back and rewatched it.
Yeah.
Because it was a good one.
Johnny Cash to me is almost like Bob Dylan. I totally respect it. I just don't really. I like when other people do his Bob Dylan songs.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of Bob Dylan doing his own material. So And
there's also that movie I'm Not There.
Yeah.
The Bob Dylan kind of artsy biopic.
Yes.
Where all the Kate Blanchett
That's in there.
played him.
We're all coming back to the 7 things of Kate Blanchett or something. Yeah.
Oh, she's just very versatile.
She is.
Yeah, that's like, and I'm not like a big Bob Dylan fan. I'm not a big Johnny Cash fan, but I think how those people portrayed them and because their lives were very interesting.
Oh, totally.
So they made great movies.
Yeah.
And then, they already had the soundtrack.
I know, it's perfect.
So.
Just need to get the rights to it, yeah.
It was good, yeah. So Walk the Line.
Yeah. I forgot about that one. That's a great one.
Another good film. And.
I did pick one music artist biopic, and that was Ray, because I really liked. I thought Jamie Foxx did an excellent job as Ray Charles, and I didn't really know a lot of the backstory. like how his mom raised him.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, you should check it out.
The movie.
Yeah. So even if you don't like the music, I love Ray Charles' music, but if you just want to see an amazing story about how he grew up, because he wasn't born blind. He was born with sight, and then lost his vision as a child, and how his mom raised him. She was hard. Basically trained him. Nobody's going to give you anything. You have to basically do everything for yourself, and he did. So,
I don't think I've ever seen it. Did he win an Oscar?
He did. He definitely deserved it. I want to say this came out 2004.
Yeah, because I remember when it came out, but I was just like, I don't really.
Yeah, it's hard to do a really good biopic of music artists. But another one that just came out was think it was Get On Up with James Brown. Yeah, and Chadwick Boseman, who also played Jackie Robinson in 42, played James Brown. He's awesome.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, I guess it was out, but it didn't do well.
Okay. Was it kind of like an independent?
Yeah.
Smaller.
But you could definitely see it on Netflix. So he does really well. Yeah, that's all you got. We had this awkward look like I'm done.
I didn't research this. I guess the only way to describe these movies is like the history. Mine were so like historical.
This is the History Channel. So. But again, those are good picks. If you're into the old costume biopics, definitely check out Samantha's picks.
Good 16th century.
Yes.
Royalty.
Well, you could have gone all the way back.
Century?
You didn't want to go all the way back to like the Jesus era or anything
like
that?
No.
We could do like Ten Commandments and
pick Braveheart.
There you go. Yeah. Passion of the Christ.
Oh no.
So, okay, we'll leave it at that. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, we're back with David, and we're gonna have our true story movies this week.
True stories.
So you come up with a few. So
yeah, I was trying to come up with a couple, but yeah, it was kind of tricky, especially not just like thinking up of like boring, like historic or whatever.
Oh, Samantha's gonna be very upset.
Did she actually do Titanic?
She did not. Actually, nobody's picked Titanic.
All
so
right.
That's
there's one.
Yeah. Did you really want Titanic?
No.
Okay. She picked more of the old 16th century costume. Queen Elizabeth or stuff like that.
Oh,
Marie Antoinette.
All those. Does Shakespeare in Love count?
No.
That was based on real stuff, right?
Technically, everything's based on something, but no.
So that's what I started to think about was like everything is like based on true events.
Sure.
And like half of the scary movies are like based on real things. So it's like, does Fire in the Sky count?
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the ones that I did think of that I guess kind of counts because it is, even though it is like, horror movie based on real events, whatever, but Amityville Horror.
Yeah, that's true.
So I thought that counts.
That is a good one.
And
do you like the original or?
I like the original. Okay. I haven't seen it as much as sadly the remake with Ryan Reynolds.
When did that come out?
2005 or 6 or something like that. Yeah, and it was actually, for like a remake horror movie,
not bad.
It wasn't bad. Yeah. And then they keep making just over and over like the same Amityville kind of a thing. I think there's another one like Amityville Awakening or something stupid like that. That was made like, what year is it now? 17. It was made like I think 3 years ago or something, and they just like haven't released it yet.
Really, it's that bad?
Yeah, and it has like some Disney starlet, whatever. Like one of those like Disney girls is the main like character in it, but. Yeah, it's the same. Like they move into the Amityville house, and then bad things happen. And,
shocking.
Yeah, but
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked even the sequels. Like they were all kind of the sequels were like more and more just kind of like rehashing the same kind of thing, but they were fun.
Yeah, they are what they are. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good one. What are the other ones?
Other one was also a little bit of like a whenever it's on TV, I always just kind of leave it on. Catch Me If You Can.
That's one of my picks. That's in my top 5. So that's a great one.
Yeah, it's just like fun. Like it's fast. Like it's paced really well, and like the relationship between Leo and Tom Hanks is like, like they're kind of buddies, but he's coming to get you.
Yeah. He kind of respects what he's doing, even though he's on his mission. Hanks is on the mission to get him. But it's so cool that he basically, it's almost like what they do with hackers now. You know, they just hire him if you can't beat him, join him type of thing. So
throw you in jail and they're like, here's some work to do.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think he's still in the FBI. Frank Abagnale.
Abagnale. Yeah. I think it was on like Stars or something like a couple like weeks ago. I was like, I'll just leave this on in the background. And of course, I was like watching the whole thing. And
you forget about Christopher Walken. And
and Amy Adams.
It's her debut, I think, right?
I think,
Very early movie with
her.
And
it just goes to show you never trust a girl because she totally gives them up to the FBI.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, kind of, basically. Yeah. Well, and then I guess all those like true crime movies and stuff. That kind of counts.
Mm-hmm.
Even though The Untouchables.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
like,
Brian mentioned that. Yeah.
It was. I mean, of course, it wasn't like actually like true. Like, yeah, I guess a lot of
actual events.
They kind of changed a lot
of
it,
but the characters were real. Like there really was
the actual
names
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those are good. Those are all good. Great job, David.
Yeah.
On short notice. He comes through. Okay, super producer Lindley is back.
Super producer.
I
forgot.
I was listening to old shows, and you were the original producer.
Oh right,
yes.
The producer that. Well, I guess the producer that
absentee
does nothing.
producer,
Should,
the silent producer.
I'm an executive producer.
Yes,
those are the people
credit.
that do nothing.
Yes, but they get to put their name on the show. So we're going to talk about our favorite true story movies this week, and you have a nice. Pretty long list, which is good.
Is it long? Yeah. Okay. Well, I have specific reasons for the movies I chose.
Okay, let's hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, I just stayed away from. I stayed away from like the historical true story. I mean, there's a lot of movies out there that are historical, like Elizabeth the First, and I like all those. Those are fine. But...
Yeah, don't knock them because that's what Samantha picked.
Oh no, I mean I do. I'm saying I like them. I'm just saying like I just stayed away from those.
Mm-hmm.
I like to pick true stories that it seems like stranger than fiction, right? Like when they're just like, wow, this is crazy and this is a true story.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I picked. So you want me just to dive into my list?
Just go right into it. We can make small talk if you want, but
well, I was the one that of course I want to pick, but it's not a true story, is Fargo. But Fargo's not really a true story. But they open up saying this is a true story. Yeah. No, it's not at all. They just completely made it up. Yeah, it's an original screenplay, and it says that at the beginning of the movie, but it's just
their weird humor.
Yeah, it's just their humor. Yeah, they're just like whatever.
Well, it's kind of like Silence of the Lambs, and I brought this up with other people. Like, that character is based on other serial killers.
Right.
So,
yeah. Right. There are movies like that as well. Yeah. My list went away. Sorry. Google Calendar.
Technology.
Okay, so Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, great one. I was going to put that on my list.
And then because I chose Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico is also based on a true story. And those are kind of my two favorite Al Pacino movies, probably besides Godfather. I love Godfather, but I don't really like Al Pacino in anything after the 70s. I don't think. Except for
Woman?
I don't know that I've ever seen it, but older Al Pacino.
Not so much.
Not a fan of. I don't know why. He became too much of a caricature.
Did you see Injustice for All? That was 79.
No.
He plays a lawyer, and he was kind of fed up with the system.
Maybe that would be good. Yeah, I don't know. I just,
Victoria?
I haven't seen that since I was really young.
Is he in that?
I don't remember that. I don't know that he's in that.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking. Cruising?
Don't know that movie.
Okay, early 80s. So, okay, but 70s Al Pacino can't be beat. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, Dog Day Afternoon, great story.
Well, that one's crazy. I think
I know you picked this as one of your movies, and I forget which one it was.
Yeah.
Caper?
Yes, best heist film.
Heist, okay.
Yeah. And it's true. I think that they kind of Hollywoodize it a little. But it really, that guy really...
No, it really did happen. It was a famous event.
Comedy of errors.
Yeah, right. It's like, that is the craziest story. Okay, so the next one I have is Heavenly Creatures.
Okay.
So that's from, I think, the early 90s. It might be Kate Winslet's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the movie I'm talking about?
Kind of. So I haven't seen it.
It is Peter Jackson's movie.
Oh, really?
Before, it's, I think, I want to say it's his first movie. I'm not sure. So, and Melanie Linsky, who is now in a bunch of stuff. You would probably recognize her. You know the name,
Mm-hmm.
So they are young teenagers, just get in this insane friendship. Like, just that insane time of adolescence where they just get really close. And so they plot to murder one of their mother, like one of the Melanie Linsky's mother in the movie. And murder her.
And it's a true
story. And they go to jail. And it takes place in the 50s. In New Zealand in the 50s. So it's a very, crazy story. It kind of reminded me of those Slender Man stories of those two girls that plotted to kill their, just this like, they just kind of almost go insane together or just, anyway.
The Menendez brothers.
Right. Well, I think that was more, they were old enough to know better.
Yeah, they wanted the inheritance.
Plotted. They wanted the inheritance, right? And I don't know if the other stories were true, but anyway. Okay, so I said Heavenly Creatures. American Splendor.
Yes.
That's a great movie, and
It
it's
is.
based on Harvey Picard. So yeah, I just think that's.
And he's such a good actor.
Oh man,
yeah.
so good. And Judah Freelander is
Yes.
so good in that.
Yes,
and
he
he's
is.
really done. I mean, he's done TV since then, but he just really hasn't been a standout
Yeah.
in a movie since then. And he was just. I just thought amazing as the I think he plays Toby, the Toby character. Yeah.
I have to watch it again. I saw it in the theater. And
I know. I
seen it
need to
since.
watch it again too. Yeah, it's really, really good.
I picked. So my number one pick was Private Parts because it's a Howard Stern story.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Paul Giamatti plays his program director, Pig Virus or Pig.
Yeah,
Virus.
yeah.
And he's so good in
That's
that
a
too.
really good one. Yeah, he's so good in that. That's
Yeah.
what I think when I first saw him. But Paul Giamatti was in that.
I think it was a big
movie
It was his
Uh-huh.
first like major. I mean, it's a supporting role, but he had a big role in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, another one is Man on the Moon.
Yes.
And I just really like SNL stories, like stories of early SNL,
Yeah.
especially. I mean, it touches on that.
Sure,
Like it's it just kind of touches on that.
So Jim Carrey didn't bother you at all? Because I know some people
I
have
thought
problems
he
with
was no. I thought he did well. I like Jim Carrey. I also almost picked, but I took it off. Was I Love You, Philip Morris?
Oh yeah.
Where he plays. I mean, again, it's a dark comedy where he plays a con man who then falls in love with Ewan McGregor's in it. Yeah, it's just a really weird little quirky film. No, but I thought he was great in that, and I
And
just
Andy
think that's an
Kaufman's
interesting
life
story.
was
Yeah,
insane, so,
yes. So, and I loved. I mean, I grew up watching Taxi.
Yes.
and I loved the character.
Latka?
Latka, right?
Yeah.
Latka?
Yeah.
And Carol Kane
Yes.
as his wife.
Yeah.
I just loved that as a kid. That was like my favorite character. So then to know that he has also this like weird, creepy,
his whole life
like his whole story is just like so
his
weird.
little wrestling
right?
career.
Yeah.
And it's complete, he was with women.
Yeah.
He was doing it to pick up women. Like,
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, weird,
Yeah,
so
crazy.
weird.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I picked Sleepwalk with Me. That's a really little Mike Birbiglia film. It's just well done. He actually did it as a stand-up, and then it transferred it to movie, and I think they did a good job.
All I remember
it to movie.
is him. Was it like a pizza dream? Like he was eating pizza?
He had had a problem sleepwalking where he actually launched himself outside of a hotel window, and then it's really the story between him and his first
girlfriend at the time.
who was, whatever should become his fiance.
Right.
They'd been together so long; it was his first girlfriend, and then just kind of the story of them breaking up and then it not working out and stuff, which I thought was.
He's a really talented comedian. He's really underrated too.
It's not even. I mean, he doesn't even do like comedy.
No,
he does
stories.
Yeah. So yeah.
So if you want the audio version, I mean, basically,
I have
listen.
it.
Yeah,
I
listen to
have it
stand-up.
too.
Yeah.
We downloaded all of his stuff for car rides. So
Oh,
my
cool.
kids really like listening to him too, and he's pretty clean, so I can play.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I don't care. They're old enough, but yeah.
I
They've
remember
listened to it for
his
several
wiffle
years.
ball stories and stuff like that. So.
He has funny stories of his parents.
Oh yeah, his parents.
His
are great.
mom downloading like porn on her computer, and then she like put the computer far away, like from like out of the room, like it had been bad, and she was. That was funny. Another one, Fruitvale Station. That's not really quirky, but it's I grew up in taking Bart in the Bay Area, but it stars Michael B. Jordan. Jordan. He starred in The Wire as a kid, and now isn't he?
He played Apollo Creed, or Apollo Creed's son in Creed.
Oh, he doesn't play. Okay, he plays Apollo Creed's son in Creed. The movie's called Creed.
Yes.
Okay. He now has become kind of a
He's a big deal
star. But Fruitvale Station is just this great story. I mean, it's a kid, he's maybe 19 or 20, gets killed by the BART police on New Year's Eve night. So, like, shot. It's just a story of but they really tell it from, just the perspective of just all the dumb things he did that day.
Yeah.
Like, and yes, he's, like, kind of a petty criminal, but it was just weird to get shot by the BART police on New Year's Eve night, and so it was a very controversial thing, but it all takes place in the Bay Area. So if you grew up in the Bay Area, if you grew up taking BART and Fruitvale Station, it was just a really I mean, I think it's a standalone movie if you didn't grow up in this area. But
weren't they exonerated, the BART police?
I think so.
And it was a big deal. I believe.
Usual. Yeah, it was a big Bay Area story.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Those are all good. And
so I have one more. My last and favorite one is the movie Bernie.
With Jack Black, right?
Yes,
I have. I just saw it. Yeah,
great. Yeah, and I mean Shirley MacLaine is
so
great.
weird.
I know. In that story, the guy is really very. He plays him very close to. Because after I saw it, I looked up interviews of that character that he's playing. And
is James Marsden in that? Or am I thinking of a different movie?
Matthew McConaughey's in it.
Okay.
So Shirley MacLaine plays the older crazy lady that mean. I don't think she's crazy. She's just super mean. Everybody hates her. Everybody loves Bernie.
Yes.
He kills her.
Yes.
I mean, they kind of have this crazy relationship, right? Where she's paying for all the stuff, like kind of taking him on vacation with her and stuff. No romance. I think it's pretty. I don't know if he's out, but it's pretty clear that he's doesn't prefer the ladies.
Right, exactly.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And she is much older than him.
Yeah.
But that everybody is still with Bernie. They're just like, oh yeah, he should have killed her.
Bernie.
Like, everybody loves Bernie in the town even. And that, he's just beloved. And he was just this really warm character and probably the only person that would have put up with this horrible person. And Shirley MacLaine is just like a very Shirley MacLaine character.
Yeah.
You know, like she always plays the grumpy old lady.
I think I'm thinking of another movie with him and James Marsden, but I'd have to go back.
There is a movie he's in with James Marsden, right?
Isn't he like a car salesman or something like that? And he lives with his.
I like
He's
James
married,
Marsden a lot.
Yeah.
Even though he's not in that many things, but he's good. He's funny.
Did you ever see Sex Drive?
No.
It's a teen sex comedy, but it's later. And God, who else? It's a bunch of people that are the girl in Silicon Valley with the long brown hair.
Okay.
She's kind of like a teenager in it, even though she's not a teenager.
Yeah.
And they basically this kind of dorky kid's going to find this girl he met online to go meet her.
Yes.
And so the friends kind of go on this road trip. So I think Clark Duke's in it.
Clark Duke, I like him too.
Yeah, but James Marsden plays his brother. He
plays like the attractive older brother.
Yeah, but he's just like he's super homophobic because he's really gay. He's beating up his brother and everything. But and the payoff at the end is really good. But he's really funny in that.
Yeah,
that movie,
he was in 30 Rock, so I loved him in 30 Rock. I just think he's funny.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all I
Great
have.
list.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch Serpico.
Yeah, I think we have to have like an Al Pacino
weekend.
Have a marathon. Yeah,
that'd be good.
I'm done.
You're done?
I'll stop saying. Well, I was going to say things that you don't need to put on the podcast.
Okay.
I was like, oh wait, that's not the topic of the podcast. I'll move on.
Okay, thank you, Emma. Okay, for this week, Danielle is back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. So for this week, we're going to talk about our favorite movies based on true stories. So you always have a good list. You had to you had to whittle it down to a more cohesive list. So let's hear what your picks are this week.
So I have like 5 movies.
as we talked about last week, number 5.
Yeah, that's what we're doing this week.
So you have 5 movies.
I do have 5 movies, and I have more actually, but I try like to narrow down to 5. So it's very hard. So my last.
Your first number 5.
Number 5, yeah. So that's easy.
So your last of your 5.
Yeah.
Well,
don't complicate it so much.
I'm not complicating.
Number 5.
Very good.
So it is the Imitation Game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you ever watch? It's the story of Alan. I don't know the last name. The mathematician. Is that it?
From World War II.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he broke the code from the Nazi, and he got. He went to jail later because the British had the anti-homosexual law.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is Benedict Cumberbatch.
What is
that? The actor?
I don't know the name.
Okay.
I forgot the name.
I believe it is.
So yes, because Britons, they had the anti-sodomy.
Sodomy. Yeah, it is
law.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah.
Yes, and he was given a choice like life prison or chemical castration.
Oh wow!
And he chose the chemical.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
No, it's very depressed. The guy was a genius, and he went down. He had to, go down to that, and he was in love with. There's the whole story. It's a beautiful movie. He commits suicide at 41 years old. So this is real. It's a real history, but it's not very accurate. So
Hollywood kind of took it. And,
I don't remember the details, but actually the code wasn't broken by him. There is some tricky because they add that for the movie to be more, emotional and stuff.
It.
But he was a genius. There's no question about it. And the whole castration and the whole history about that is very sad. And the actor, I don't know the name.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
He's very good. I mean, he takes you to you have the feelings, and even like in the last scene, it's very sad. It is very sad, but it's a beautiful movie, even though they did a little makeup. But it is a beautiful movie.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Yay.
Number 4.
Number 4 is, I cannot say the name again.
Okay, we'll attempt to.
Let's translate.
Lost in Translation?
No, Let's Translation. See, I don't even can speak. No, it's not the movie. You're going to translate for me.
I was like, what are you talking about?
You're going to say in the right way the words. I'm speaking the whole week in Portuguese. My accent is the worst.
I wish it was a video podcast. We could do subtitles.
Oh my God. It's terrible when I don't speak English for so long. I lose everything.
This is how you practice.
I know.
The listening audience gets to enjoy.
Frasier, watching Frasier. So therefore, number 4.
The number 4
is The Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. There we go. So is it Chris Gardner? Is the history of?
Yes. And Will Smith is the actor.
Is the guy, and his son Jaden Smith, maybe. I don't know the last name.
Jaden Smith, yes.
Is the son, and wow, that is a sad story. I cried my eyes out, like especially on the bathroom scene. When he sleeps in the subway bathroom, and the guy keeps.
Is it based in San Francisco? Or maybe I'm thinking a different movie.
No idea.
I thought it was San Francisco.
But I cried so much on that scene, and the one that he takes the cab with the guy from the company because he's doing the internship because his dream is working that broke the financial company,
a brokerage firm.
So he gets the cab with this guy, and he has no money. He just have, I don't know if it was $10 bill or something in his wallet.
Okay.
And the guy, he drops off. The guy, what they do? Oh, okay. They got the cab together. And the guy stops first. He leaves first. And then he says, can you pay for the ride? Because I have no change with me. And you can see like his face, he opened the wallet, he just had that.
The $10.
Yeah, so he's like, sure. But at the end, when he gets the job, the guy paid back. It's amazing. I love that movie.
So it's kind of like karma. Like he did a good deed, and it turned out okay in the end.
It was very touching, and the daycare for the son. I mean, that I believe completely because daycares can be like that.
Oh yeah.
But yes, it was emotional to see to watch that movie.
Number 3.
Yay! So number 3 is a very recent movie that I went to the movie theater like this year.
Okay.
Is Hidden Figures.
Yeah, Hidden Figures about
the three
NASA.
women from the mathematicians from NASA that they had. The year was, I forgot the year, 1961. So you had not only the sexism because they are NASA, they are mathematics, engineering women. They also had the segregation. And the story is amazing. I took my daughter to the movie theater to watch because she takes everything for granted. And I said, okay, you're going to watch and you're going to see how it was back in the days. Because she doesn't know. She's in 5th grade. She has no idea. So as I was entering in the movie theater, comes this lady, and from the previous session, she said, good job you taking, because I was taking her and her friend, and she was like, good job taking her to watch how it was.
Sure.
And then we keep talking for a while, and then she watched the movie. There is this scene that she got emotional when one of the women, the one that works directly with Kevin Costner, with the boss, and she needs to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And she needs to run in between buildings because there's no colored, that they used to call colored
yeah. Mm-hmm.
person bathrooms in that building. So she had to run half an hour, and then he goes on her, where you were, you know.
Why are you late?
Yeah. Why are you doing this? Why you disappear many times a day? And then she breaks down. And she said, because there's no bathroom for me here. And they were like, of course there is. There's one bathroom. Not for me.
Right.
And then he realized what's happening. And oh my, so that scene I will never forget.
Sure.
So I was very emotional, and I looked to my daughter. I could see like she reacting.
Well, yeah, because that's completely
no
foreign to her. I mean, it's completely foreign to a lot of people here. I mean, that they didn't grow up back then.
So
good
yes,
pick.
that is my third place.
Uh-huh.
So number 2. So I watched that movie long time ago, and it is the Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
List.
Yes.
I cannot say. Beautiful movie as well.
Very painful to watch.
Very, very sad to watch. What's his name? Schindler?
Yep.
I cannot say.
Yeah, you said
Schindler.
it. Yep.
He's a German guy, right? That he comes in the city. He is from the Nazi party.
Yes.
And he's just like, he wants to make money.
Of course.
So he opens the factory, and he hired all the... It's Polish Jewish? It is Polish Jewish. To work. He just want to make money. There's nothing to do with that. And then, when they start like killing the people, he realizes, you know, what's going on. So a lot of people
in the Nazi party didn't realize how far it was going to get, or you had to join, otherwise you're.
So he pretended he was joining, but
he was really helping.
He was helping. He helped over 1,000 people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that was a beautiful movie. I won't forget that.
No, of course not.
So now
number 1.
I have 2 number 1s.
So you have a top 6 list. I thought I was the only one that could cheat like that.
Okay. So that one I forgot the name.
Well, then it doesn't count. Then
it does count because you're gonna complete the name. Everybody knows because it was a book. The movie is amazing. It's the Diary of Anne
Frank.
Yes. I cannot remember the last name ever, but there's 2 versions, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I watched the first one, the original one, and oh my god!
Did you read the book?
I did not read the book.
Okay.
That's why I like the movie. I think if I read the book, I would not like the movie. But oh my god, it's sad. I cried. So I think all those best real movies is just like to kill us. It's crying all day long.
Well, most true stories have to have some sort of arc, and most movies have to have some sort of arc. But especially with true stories, you have to go the good, the bad, the ugly, and then before you get to
so
the payoff.
Her life from that basement that is upstairs.
The attic. Yes.
I never know what is upstairs and
you had a 50-50 chance there.
I got it wrong. Yeah. So yes. All those people, you know, the romantic thing, and it was touching.
Sure.
The scene that the woman needs to go to the bathroom, and the Nazis are right downstairs, and she oh my god.
Yeah.
Because you don't remember those little parts. Oh, they lived there for how many, a bunch of years, but you don't realize that they need to do basic things in front of everybody, and then that scene was very strong to watch because it clicks. Like, wow, that was really, really sad.
Okay. So what is the second
number
1 pick?
My real one, don't laugh, because I love that movie, and I don't know, I will never forget it.
Jurassic Park.
No.
Okay.
Well, we could.
The
real dinosaur. So it is King's Speech.
Oh, The King's Speech. That's a great movie.
I love that movie. Colin
Firth.
I love him in
Bridget Jones.
And he can do so many different, So on that one, that the impairing, he could not do a speech, and
he had a stutter.
England was on the limit of the war with the German. I think it was.
Yeah, it was World War II.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of World War II movies.
Yes,
yeah.
and he had to speak for his country, right? To be the lead.
That's right.
And that was amazing. And the teacher
great.
that they thought he was a doctor.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that guy is great. And the speech itself, when the last scene, the exercise, because he starts like, and then the guy, and then he start cursing. Remember, like the exercise. Very, very touching.
Sure.
I love that movie. So the Queen mom, one of the, because I don't know who is the Elizabeth first,
yes.
right? That was his wife. Yes. I think there is some stuff that the movie or the book had to be released after her death. There is something like that. But they are the parents of the Queen Elizabeth.
The current
queen.
Now. Yes, that's correct. The current queen. Yes.
The current queen. But I'm in love with that movie. I will never forget. I watched it more than once, and I don't get tired of watching that movie. Especially the scenes of they both together, and then found out that the guy is not actually a doctor. He's like a teacher, theater teacher. He's a bad actor. I think he was never hired to be an actor or something like that. I think things about that was real at that time. That's amazing.
It
so
is.
I love that movie.
And that's why true stories are good, as long as they don't Hollywoodize them too much. But again, that's what makes these movies great. So again, thank you so much, Danielle. She's eating in the middle of the interview now because she's so hungry. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, Mahlon is back, and for this week, we're going to do our favorite movies based on true stories. So this could be all over the map, so I'm curious what you have to pick for this week.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, gosh, I have such a long list.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's okay.
Look, this is my Post-it note. I'm showing Brian. I have an intimidatingly long list.
It's even in the margins, you know?
Yeah, I had to start writing vertically.
Yeah.
And now I can't read any of it. So I thought I would start off with Fargo. And I was kind of joking with Brian about this yesterday because it is the most loosely based on a true event kind of movie that there is, because I think they just took like this very gestural sentence out of a newspaper and created this movie around it. And no, the movie is.
I was going to say bits and pieces, but that'd be important.
It is,
right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no spoilers.
No.
Yeah, so it's really, really gesturally based on possibly true events, or maybe they just pulled it all out of.
Well, it's kind of like The Birds. I mean, The Birds is based on a news article that really happened
in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the event is completely different. And then Daphne du Maurier took it in a completely different direction. And yeah, so I started thinking about that, and I was like, oh, actually, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Hollywood is where true stories go to become lies.
Pretty much, exactly. No, it's a great point. I'm going to use that. That's going to be in the intro. So yeah.
So anyway, I love Fargo, and I think whenever you're looking at movies that are based on true stories, you kind of have to go in completely willing to forget that it's, at least to a certain extent, based on a true story.
Yeah.
And totally buy into the lie and the fantasy, or whatever kind of tale or propaganda the filmmakers want to spin.
Sure. Hollywoodize it, yeah.
Yeah. So with that in mind, my first film is political propaganda. So Battleship Potemkin.
I've never heard of this.
Have you seen that? By Sergei Eisenstein?
No.
No, I don't know the date, because I know you're going to ask me. It's like maybe 1920s, 1930s. No, I should know.
Is it a silent film?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the date. Can you look it up?
That's okay. Okay, so while I'm looking up, what's the name of it?
Battleship Potemkin.
Okay, so explain what the movie's
I mean, I'm good enough writing down the titles. I never remember. So anyway, it's
1925. So
1925.
So it's definitely silent.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason that it's remarkable is not only that it was propaganda, but that the filmmaker was really interested in creating kind of an emotionally persuasive film, and so there's this uprising that happens during the movie, and the way that it's shot is meant to make a political message through emotional means and make an emotional impact through cinematic means. And I think it's really, really effective, and there are a couple of scenes that are really harrowing, even by today's standards. Super effective. I definitely recommend checking it out because so many films since then have taken the lessons learned there and really run with them. But yeah, so that's one to check out. And because I have so many, I'm not going to spend a lot of time.
We'll run right through them.
Yeah, we're going to run through. Okay. So another one, this isn't exactly propaganda, but it's to do with political and social strategy during a time of oppression. So the Battle of Algiers.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
I have seen that.
Amazing movie. So for me, who's totally neck-deep geekdom into like architecture and urban planning and urban histories, this one's really fascinating because you have an oppressed group of people who are looking for and using spaces in the city, in different parts of the city, different types of the city, as points and spaces and opportunities for resistance. So it's really interesting in terms of like cultural and political strategy and tactics.
So this one is 1966.
1966. Thank you. Okay. You just keep,
I'm the year guy.
Yeah, you just keep looking these up. Okay. So then, as I was thinking about this, I usually don't like war movies.
Okay. But you're picking a lot of war movies.
And so I noticed I have a clump of World War II movies.
Okay, and there were many made back
then. There were. So I'm going to go through these as a group.
Sure.
Just to make it kind of easy. The Great Escape.
Of course, that's classic.
Yeah, that was like Saturday matinee film par excellence. It's just like a great film to turn on when you've got nothing better to do on like a Saturday morning or mid-morning and just kind of hang out and watch it. Because it goes on forever.
It does.
And you can kind of come into it and out of it.
It's almost a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those like roadshow films that went on like tour and it was a huge event. And
what a cast! I mean, just with Steve McQueen, James Garner, Charles Bronson,
Donald Pleasance,
Richard Attenborough, James Coburn, who was.
Did you say James Garner?
James Garner was in it too.
He has a choice role in there.
So I'm going to wrap my mom out. Her childhood crush her teenage crush was James Coburn. That was her favorite actor.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, which one was he? He was the. That's right. Yeah.
He was Armand Flynn.
Yeah. Oh.
There you go, Mom.
Shout out to the moms.
Yes.
Okay, so skipping around. Oh, and the thing that I loved about it was just the tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
The building of the tunnels and how much you get to see that.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, I'm just fascinated with this as like building spaces and countering spaces in order to politically make... to resist.
Sure.
Even when the odds seem completely stacked against you.
Sure. And you don't want to get put in the cooler.
No, you don't want to. not without a baseball.
That's right.
Okay, so moving right along, Das Boot.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I know of it.
You know of it?
Yeah,
okay, you have to. Because I know you're allergic to foreign films.
That's okay. But many on this podcast are not, so that's
No,
good.
I think you would love this film.
Okay, 1981, so yeah. I've definitely heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a great film.
But it's 4 hours and 53 minutes, so you might have lost me there.
No.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's claustrophobic. So imagine a 5-hour movie that is one of the most claustrophobic suspense thrillers that you could imagine seeing. It is wrenching.
Okay. Well, according to IMDb, they say 150 minutes. According to Google, they say 4 hours. Maybe they're including some bonus stuff.
Maybe that's like the difference between like the theatrical version and the director's cut. Because there is,
a director's cut.
I think, a significant difference between the two. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I would assume there's 2.5 hours extra.
There's 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along.
Yeah.
Here's one that I think is great, and I don't think is kind of as much on the beaten path as some of these others that I've already mentioned. Europa by Agnieszka Holland.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating film. It is based on the life of Solomon Perel, who was his family was driven out of their home during Kristallnacht, and he, for a period, is kind of separated from his family. and ends up taking cover. It's a long, complicated story, but eventually ends up taking cover, disguising himself as a elite Nazi. I forget how he kind of like rises up in the ranks of.
So, according to the description, he ends up in a Russian orphanage for 2 years.
Yeah, and that gets
and then
destroyed.
When the Nazis reach Russia, he convinces them he's a German Aryan, and then becomes an interpreter.
Right.
Yeah. So he basically kind of joins and Julie Delpy's in it. So.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
1990. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is worth seeing.
Okay.
Definitely worth seeing. Because I think when we think of World War II, we think like Schindler's List or Das Boot or things like that.
And you should look at the American perspective too. So
and this one is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting tidbit of history.
Cool.
Acting in it, the direction is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, any more boring World War II movies to go through? No.
Right.
Okay, so then some other ones that I wanted to mention. Fitzcarraldo by Werner Herzog.
Never heard of it.
So this is about this guy who wants to open an opera house in the middle of the Amazon rainforest.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this whole crazy story about how he wants to get these building materials and these people down to this completely remote spot. And there's, I think the most famous moments from the film are when he's got this steamboat that's going down the river and he has to get it over a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's, by human power, he's dragging this steamboat up over a hill. Now, by today's filming practices, this would be probably heavily manufactured on the visual effects side. Werner Herzog is crazier than the guy that the film is about. And so they actually tried to get it over the hill in shooting the film. And so there are some documentaries that are equally fascinating about the process of creating this film. But the film itself is kind of a gem, just in terms of like the length to which the human spirit will strive in order to achieve whatever insane goals or dreams.
So this was 1982.
82?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know him from the first Jack Reacher movie. He plays the main villain.
Werner Herzog is
He's really good in it.
Werner Herzog is this amazing guy who's done just about anything you could imagine.
Yeah.
Done anything and been everywhere you can imagine. So Fitzcarraldo is one definitely worth seeing. Okay. Jumping over to New Zealand.
Okay.
An Angel at My Table was filmed by Jane Campion, who's better known for The Piano.
Okay.
But so this film is about a New Zealand poet named Jean Frame, and it was originally shot as a television miniseries, but I saw it in the U.S. cinema because they collapsed it together a little bit and then released it theatrically here. It's fascinating. So Janet Fox, I think is her name. Anyway, she was in Shallow Grave with Ewan McGregor later than that. But she does this great job as this poet with this really frizzy, frumpy, curly red hair. And it's fascinating. And it follows her journey from childhood to adult. She's extremely socially awkward and is diagnosed, misdiagnosed with some social disorders. Goes into an institution, is subjected to shock therapy and some other really horrible things.
Sounds like Girl Interrupted.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen that. That's the one with Winona Ryder, right?
And Angela,
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but this is a fascinating film. It's like 3 parts, because the miniseries was 3 parts, and so they have a 3-part movie, and it's beautiful, the soundtrack, and the New Zealand countryside is amazing, and Carrie Fox, sorry, I think I misspoke her name earlier, but Carrie Fox was amazing in it. I'm, to this day, surprised that she hasn't broken out more profoundly in other roles, but she seems to have had a fairly modest film career. Okay, so that said, let me jump to... I'm almost embarrassed to mention these. I think I'm going to skip over... I have this section titled great dead white dudes. Enough has been said, like, historically about great dead white dudes, so I'm going to skip over that.
Okay.
That would have been Citizen Kane, Amadeus, Lords of Arabia, Schindler's List.
Yeah, Citizen Kane is it's based on a true story, but it kind of ruined Orson Welles' career. So, meaning his mainstream career, that is, because he always went on to create amazing things, but always had a fallout with the movie studios or whatnot. Kind of like with what was the famous movie he did with Charlton Heston and Janet Leigh, A Touch of Evil. Like, there's so many different versions of it. Which finally came out later, but he was never happy with
what it was actually
what was released. Yeah, because he wanted like a 2-hour version, and the movie studio didn't want that. So.
Not back then.
No, but
it's either an hour and a half or 5 hours.
That's right. All or nothing.
Then Rorschach.
That's right.
Okay, so now it's interesting because you touched on this earlier by mentioning the birds.
Yeah.
But I looked back at Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And because so many of all of his movies are based on either novels or short stories, but so many of those are based on real events heavily filtered by the time they get to the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But, for example, Shadow of a Doubt is based on a real-life serial killer called Earl Leonard Nelson.
Oh, really?
And he was known as the Gorilla Man. Now, I don't know any of the details of the actual events, but that being one of my all-time favorite films, I thought was worth a mention throwing in. And Psycho, also based on Gacy, which is kind of one of the most gruesome of serial killers. That Silence of the Lambs is also loosely based on.
Is it Gacy or is it someone else? Or is it? Oh God, what was his name? I have to look it up.
If you have my Psycho killers, like
I think Gacy was the clown.
Yeah.
So it was probably before him. I'm thinking of.
It's a guy that lived on the farm.
Yeah, I know you're. Yeah, I'm looking up a Slayer song, the band, because they wrote a song called "Dead Skin Mask," which is about Ed Gein.
Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Gein. I don't know, but yeah. But
I've heard it both ways. I think it's Gein.
Definitely what you meant, right? Psycho, but also Buffalo Bill in
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, definitely, because he basically is killing people for their skin. So
right. Ed Gein is the one.
Yes. He is freaky.
Yeah. Nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, the movies are, in some ways, more gentle about what happened. They filter it and clean it up a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, anyway, and those are fantastic films. So,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, thank goodness for serial killers. I mean, you don't want to say that
but it's true.
Serious.
I mean, actually, we could do a section just on True Life, because there was Zodiac that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah. That movie was okay, but, I mean...
Yeah. I think they're better when they just take touches, and like they take the character profiles and then kind of create their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is more like in tune with Silence of the Lambs.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because unless they tell you that it was specifically based off of Ed Gein,
right,
you'd have to really kind of work hard to figure that out.
Totally, yeah.
Okay, 2 by David Lynch, and then I'll end.
Sure.
So the first one, Elephant Man, I've already mentioned that a couple of times, but I just think that's a fantastic film for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. Very tough to watch, but well done. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it is tough to watch, but I find it easier on me for repeat viewing than even some of the other ones that I mentioned, like Das Boot and Great Escape. I love those movies, but I have a harder time committing to them, to a viewing of them, than I do The Elephant Man. There's something really intoxicating about Freddie Francis's cinematography in The Elephant Man, and the music and the direction. I can really easily get absorbed into that world, and into the story. Time and time again.
Yeah.
And the other one I was going to mention was The Straight Story, which is that really unlikely David Lynch film. That I think we were talking about how Hairspray is a great introduction for people into John Waters.
Yeah.
If especially in my hope that their next experience would be like Multiple Maniacs or
Pink Flamingos.
Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
This one, I think people should go from The Straight Story straight to like Wild at Heart or Inland Empire and just be like completely screwed up for the rest of their lives.
So I've never heard of The Straight Story. So
So The Straight Story is about a guy, an older guy who's living out kind of in the middle of middle of nowhere,
Okay.
and he doesn't drive, and he finds out that his brother is sick, and he hasn't talked to his brother in a really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen this in a while, so I'm kind of going off of
memory,
tattered memories
Okay.
here. But I love the film. And anyway, so he finds out his brother is sick, decides he wants to go out and visit him, doesn't have any mode of transportation outside of a tractor. Or actually, I think it's a riding lawnmower.
Oh,
So he gets on
really?
his riding lawnmower, and he travels a great distance to see his brother. And you have this really slow, kind of hypnotic tracing of his journey. And it's really kind of meticulous, and you have to be prepared to like savor the details and this kind of slow burn of a film towards this inevitable reunion that he has with his brother. And you don't know what to expect of the reunion, but you do get a sense that even though they haven't spoken in a long time, there's this kind of really strong connection that continues to bind them.
Sure.
And he's drawn back, and he's powerless to resist that that draw. And then they get to the final scene, and it's just almost silent. They meet each other. They sit on the porch or in chairs, and they look up at the sky, and it's just silent ending to the film. And it's kind of perfect. It's not what you might expect, but it says more in saying nothing about the connection that has been implicit throughout the rest of the film. It's just an unspoken connection that
And it leaves
will
it
never
up
break.
to the audience to decide how it ends, which is always good, too.
Yeah.
Even though some audiences don't like that, but yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to end on one that wasn't based on war.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks as always, Mahlon. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do next week. But again, you always come up with a very stellar and well-researched list, and we always appreciate that. So thank you.
Okay, cool.
If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.